since we all like the Mavericks, we'll see if it comes to fruition, but we're not going to play 11-1 to all the way come back if they win Game 4 tonight. We're not going to do that, right?
How are you going to hang the stat of teams down 0-3 or 0-155? Here's 11-1. No, thank you. That's not good enough. So that's going to be a pass. If you are of the belief that Minnesota can come back, which winning tonight, then you go home, you try to find a way to win Game 5. Suddenly it's 3-2, you put some pressure on Dallas. I could see why some people would believe that, given what we saw in the last series. Anthony Edwards is 16-1 to win Western Conference Finals MVP. So, what would be the odds that Minnesota would come all the way back and win, and it's not Edwards who's leading the charge? Karl Anthony Towns, he's missed quite a few shots in this series.
I see what you're doing.
He could get hot, but I think that would be the way to play it rather than the 11-1.
I like that better than the 11-1. That's simple math. Let's move to the Eastern Conference, where we have crowned a champ. The Celtics completed a sweep of the Pacers last night. They closed plus 275 to win the series in 4 games. It was the Celtics' second conference final sweep in franchise history, with their only other being that legendary 1986 season. Despite being at least 7.5-point dogs in each game, Indiana did make it competitive. They covered 3 of 4 despite losing all of them. Pacers not only covered, but they held fourth-quarter leads in 3 of the 4 games. Jaylen Brown earned the Larry Bird Trophy for Eastern Conference Finals MVP. He averaged just a shade under 30 points with that awesome game-tying three-pointer in Game 1. Sent it to overtime. They eventually won. Of course, he had a 40-burger in Game 2. The Celtics are currently minus 225 to win the NBA title. Boston has been the outright favorite to win the championship since October. Halloween for this squad.
Halloween?
Yeah, I mean, they've been killing basically since the beginning of the year. So
thanks for coming out, Eastern Conference.
I mean, Donovan Mitchell hurt, Tyrese Halliburton hurt, Jimmy Butler hurt. It wasn't necessarily like they ran through a who's who of East teams. The Celtics, as we showed that price, minus 225. Do you think that number gets larger or smaller as we wait to see what happens in the West?
Great question. If somehow Minnesota forces a 7, I think it would get bigger because you'd have the rest versus, rust angle of the whole thing, but it would be a team that's well rested. I don't see that happening. I don't even need to go into any more detail on that. I would say it closes smaller, meaning money comes in on Dallas, our projected winner. By the time we get there, money came in on Indiana in the last series, and I should have gone in and looked at what happened in the 2 series prior to that. Granted, those were much bigger prices, but money came in on Dallas before the Minnesota series, if you remember that. And I have a feeling that when the pricing comes out, if you're looking at Boston minus 225 against Dallas, you're going to look at the 2 stars from Dallas and everything they've done, how well the defense has played. You're going to look at the 2 stars from Boston and say, good, Tatum's still a little shaky in crunch time. You're going to look at the path. You're going to look at Dallas getting plenty of rest as well here. I think Dallas money would hit the market.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I'm interested in Dallas should they finish things off in the West. Finals MVP. You kind of talked about a way creatively to bet the Western Conference if you like Minnesota to come back, but projecting what might happen in the finals, is there a player in this market you like?
I wouldn't play the Celtics.
You would not play either?
Again, right now, I think what you could do is, if you believe what I'm saying, in that if you get a matchup with Dallas, the price is going to come down, I think the price also then is affected in the market. So Tatum maybe goes from even money to plus 120. I think Luka would come down from plus 220. Kyrie Irving, this is interesting. He was 20-1 this morning. He's now down to 16-1. That move happened today. That's an interesting price because of the 4 stars stepping into this series. Irving's the longest shot. People like to bet a little to win a lot. And Irving's played very, very well. Plus the whole narrative of used to be a Celtic and try to stick it to him. I mean, is there any more reason to stick it to someone than winning an NBA championship? I think he's properly motivated as is, but that would be the one I would look at.
We got proof of concept of all those players. Kyrie is the one who's actually done it in an NBA championship and knocked down a huge shot in a Game 7 to do so.
NBA,